welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because I'm going to be answering your questions about my trip to Orlando this past January. So if you're stumbling along this video for the first time, welcome. My name is Kayla. I am a wife, mom, and lover of all things Disney and travel. I hope that my channel will be a bright spot in your day as I share the magic of Disney, the joy of travel, a little bit about our life here and there, and helpful tips and tricks along the way. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, I hope you'll subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I post additional videos, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up while you're watching because it really does help support my channel. But without further ado, let's get into your questions. Over on Instagram, I'm at Main Street Through Your Eyes over there as well. I asked you guys what questions you had about my trip to Orlando this past January. So if you haven't watched those vlogs, I'll be sure to link them below, but just to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory, I traveled to Orlando by myself without my husband and my sweet little boy this past January for a professional work trip. I went to a travel agency conference and I got to meet all of my fellow People Mover travel agency agents, and we just had an amazing week in both Universal and Walt Disney World. Be sure to check out those vlogs if you haven't already, and yeah, let's get into your questions. So the first question was, what was your favorite part? Oh, it's so hard to pick a favorite part from any trip because I just love to travel, and I think that there are so many favorites that come along with each trip. But if I had to pick one favorite from this past trip, it was definitely meeting my People Mover travel agency family. They are just an incredible group of human beings, you guys. They are genuine and kind and supportive, and I would not have made it through the week without them. And we talk every single day. We encourage each other. We help each other out. I really think that's what's so special about People Mover travel, is that when you work with one of us, you're really getting the whole team, because behind the scenes we are always talking, communicating. If one of us doesn't know something, the other one does, and it's really special. So just getting to meet them for the first time and just spend good quality time with them was just really cool. So I have to say that was probably my favorite part of the trip. And the next question, and I love, by the way, I love how this question is worded: the rose, bud, and thorn of the trip. So I thought that was so neat, such a neat way to, I don't know, one of those icebreaker questions, or just one of those get to know you type questions. I would definitely say the rose of the trip was, again, meeting my People Mover travel agency family and really getting to explore Universal a little bit more. You guys know that Disney has my heart, it always will. But I have a lot of friends, family, and clients that love Universal. So really getting to spend some good quality time there, stay in one of those Universal hotels, visit Diagon Alley at Universal Studios. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. That was just really special, getting to spend some time in Universal, because it's something that I don't do quite as often as I go to Disney. Now let's go to the thorn first. So the thorn in the trip was definitely having to be away from my husband and my son. I kind of shared a little bit in my vlogs about how I was feeling and how I was doing with that. And it was hard, you guys. It was so hard to be away from them. They're my world, and I love making memories with them. And so it was definitely hard to be away from them, but I'm thankful for technology, so I got to FaceTime with them often. You know, I also was able to be excited about future trips to come with them. So it was hard to be away. That's the longest I've ever been away from my son. It definitely tugged on my mama heartstrings, and I definitely had to battle some of that mom guilt while I was there, and I was definitely ready to be home with them after those 5 nights. That was probably the thorn of the trip, just that they weren't able to join me this time. It just didn't kind of work out with our schedules. And the bud, I really loved this part of the question. So when I think of a rosebud, I think of springtime and hope and the good things to come. And that's really what this trip was for me. It was such an such an amazing personal and professional growth trip for me. Professionally, I learned so much. I got to hear from so many different suppliers, and it really broadened my horizons in terms of the things that I'm able to book for my clients. And so for that reason, I am so thankful that I had the opportunity to go and meet with those suppliers, hear from them, because, I have clients who don't just go to Walt Disney World, they do other things too. And so to be able to provide that service for them means a lot to me. I want to be able to service all of my clients' travel needs, whether it's Walt Disney World, Universal, an all-inclusive resort, a cruise, a Disney cruise, whatever the case may be. I want to be able to be a great resource for them. So that was really, really neat. But it was also such a great personal growth trip for me, in the sense that I had forgotten that outside of being a wife and a mom and a daughter and an aunt and a friend, I'm also me. I'm Kayla, and I lost sight of that the last 2 years. And I think it's so easy to do. You just get into that daily routine and you have your obligations to your family and your friends, and you really don't take the time, or at least I didn't, to stop and reflect and really figure out what is Kayla like? What does Kayla enjoy doing? What are my interests now as a 34-year-old wife, mom, daughter, all of those things, but what do I like? What do I enjoy? And so just having that time to realize, oh, I'm still me, and just be able to take that time to reflect, just have a little bit of me time, as kind of selfish as that sounds. I really didn't realize how drained my cup was, so to speak, until I left. And to be able to kind of fill that cup up and come home, I think it made me a better wife and a better mom. This trip as a whole just really made me excited for the future of my travel agency business, the future of my YouTube channel, and our family's future. And so for that reason, I just think this whole entire trip was the bud of something so beautiful. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds. What did you learn? Oh my goodness, so much. Like I said, we got to, and I'm assuming you're talking about the suppliers and the conference itself. So I learned so much at the conference, whether it was just different suppliers that I had never even heard of before, different ways to kind of enhance my clients' experiences, even at Walt Disney World. I learned a ton about Universal Orlando, which was really, really neat. Yeah, I don't know. I learned so much. It's hard just to kind of encapsulate what I learned into a short, brief answer that doesn't make this video a mile long, but I learned a lot, and I'm really excited for what that means for my clients and their trips and the memories that they're going to be able to make with their families. Did you see any other travel agencies like PMT? So PMT, People Mover Travel for short. I really didn't. There were a lot of solo, I guess, in my legal world, we call them solo practitioners. So a lot of solo travel agents that were just there on their own. And oh my goodness, did that make me so grateful to have our agency there. All but two of our agents, and we miss them so much, were there. And we got to spend time together as a family. And you guys, honestly, if I had been there by myself, I probably would have gone home on day 2, just because I was missing my husband and my son so much. But I think just having that support system there of people who not only understood what I was going through, but just helped me power through and stay busy, and just welcomed me with open arms and said, hey, we're gonna do this together. And that was really, really cool. So no, I didn't really see any other agencies like People Mover Travel at the conference. And man, did that make me so grateful to be a part of this team. Like, so grateful. So grateful. What makes People Mover Travel different? Why should I choose to work with your agency versus another one? Great question. And I think I've kind of already touched on it. And I really can't speak for other travel agencies. I want to preface this answer by saying, obviously, this is the only travel agency I've ever worked with. And so I can't, like I said, I can't really speak to other agencies, but what I can tell you about our agency specifically is that we are a team. So if you choose to book your trip with me, you really are getting the whole team, because I talk to them every single day. If I don't know the answer to something, I am not afraid to be like, hey, I got a question. I don't know the answer to this. And I'm telling you, one of my teammates does, and they are more than happy to provide help and assistance. For example, if I'm traveling, I have my teammates more than willing to step up. Obviously, I still am working with my clients while I'm traveling. I'm 24/7 a travel agent, and I love my job, so it makes it really easy to be on call 24/7. But let's say, I happen to be traveling and I can't get to something. I have a team of agents that I work with that are more than willing to help me. Like if I'm in the middle of the line at Space Mountain and one of my clients needs something, I can text one of my teammates, one of my family members, and they will hop on it and help. They're incredible. They're just incredible. So I think, like I said, I can't speak for other agencies, but what I can say is that when you book with me or one of the other members of People Mover Travel, you're getting all of us. And I think that's really, really cool and really, really special. Favorite resort at Universal? Oh my goodness, you guys. So one entire afternoon, we spent the day touring each of the resorts at Universal. And man, was that cool. That was such a cool experience. And if I had to pick one that I would definitely want to stay at next, it would have to be Sapphire Falls. So in Universal, there's 4 categories of resorts. You have value, prime value, which Aventura, the resort that I stayed at, was a prime value. And then you have preferred, which is Sapphire Falls. And then you have the premier category. And I was just really impressed with Sapphire Falls. It just kind of had that elevated touch. There's a table service restaurant there. The atmosphere was just beautiful. There is a boat, a water taxi that will take you over to the theme parks, which is such a nice added bonus. Now, of course, if you're staying at any of the other resorts, you can utilize that water taxi. So for example, since I was staying at Aventura, I would walk over to Sapphire Falls, hop on the water taxi, and head over to Universal. But it was just beautiful. It had that like tropical vibe. You just felt like you were on vacation there. I think it was definitely the resort or the hotel that I would want to stay at next at Universal for sure. Thoughts on your resort at Universal? So I stayed at Universal's Aventura Hotel, and I really liked it. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I really liked it, and I'll explain why. So I really liked it was very clean, had a very modern feel to it, a very kind of modern, futuristic. There's like even a robot that will bring you like extra towels or, whatever the case may be, whatever you may need. So that's pretty cool. You kind of feel like you're living in the Jetsons kind of world, which is it's pretty cool. I loved my room. I had a skyline view room, and I will link that room tour below so you can kind of go over and check it out. I was able to see Universal. I was able to see Islands of Adventure from my room because I had a theme park view. I was able to see Sapphire Falls and Cabana Bay, and it was really cool. Like I could see Hogwarts Castle from my room. It was so cool. It was so cool. There's a full service Starbucks in the lobby, which amazing. So good. All of the team members that I spoke with and interacted with were friendly and helpful and kind. I don't have a lot of negative to say about it. I really enjoyed my experience there. I think the quick service options that they have there, they even have sushi that they roll right there. There's a brick oven pizza right in the lobby. So I think the food options there are wonderful. I think for me, it's just not necessarily my vibe. I like a little bit more of like a, I don't know, a more vacation-y vibe, maybe a little bit more of a homier feel to the resort. And it is very, it was a little bit sterile for me. Like there's not like decorations on the walls and things like that. Like it's very futuristic, very modern. And so it's just not necessarily my vibe, but I think it is a great hotel. I would 100% stay there again. I think the price, the value that you get for the price that you pay is wonderful. And so I really, really liked my Universal hotel. I did. I really enjoyed it. Would you stay at Universal versus Disney and commute or vice versa? Oh, that's a good question. Here's what I would say about that. I think if you're going to spend more than one day at Universal, it is 100% worth it to stay on Universal property. So for example, if you're spending the majority of your time in Walt Disney World and just spending one day at Universal, I think it makes sense just to commute over to Universal. But if you're gonna be spending 2 or 3 days, I mean, there's 3 theme parks. There's Volcano Bay, which is an incredible water park, Islands of Adventure, and Universal Orlando. So if you're gonna be spending 2 or 3 days, I think it makes sense to stay on Universal property. You have a lot of great options in terms of resorts, and from, the value all the way up to the Premier, depending on what your price point is. They have bus transportation that will take you over to City Walk to access the theme parks. Some of them have, like I mentioned, the water taxis that will take you over to the theme parks as well. And one thing to note about the water taxis that I think is wonderful is you actually go through security before you get on the water taxi. So you kind of bypass security over at City Walk. So that's really cool too. So I think they just make it really accessible. Universal Orlando Resort has just really done a great job of making their theme parks and their hotels very accessible. And so I do think it would be worth it if you're going to spend at least 2 days there to hop over and stay at one of their hotels. And a lot of times if you combine a hotel and a ticket package, you're going to be spending less money as well. So definitely something to think about. Now the caveat of that is, if you're only going to be spending one day at Universal, but you're going to be wanting to purchase their Express or Express Unlimited Pass, which is their version of like the cut the line pass, I definitely think that it would be worth it for you to look into staying at a Premier resort at Universal. If you stay at a Premier resort at Universal at the time of filming, an Express Unlimited Pass is included in the price of your stay. So it may be worth it for you to, even if you're just going to spend one day there, if you know you're going to get those Universal Express or Express Unlimited passes, to go ahead and look at staying at a Premier resort. So you actually get that Express Unlimited pass, not only for the day that you check in, but your checkout day as well. So it might be worth it. So just kind of take a look and see. Contact your travel agent if you don't have one. I would love to work with you. Kind of a shameless plug there, and definitely look into that. But I definitely would recommend staying at a Universal hotel. I have no qualms recommending that to any of my clients for sure. What was your favorite thing that was brand new to you this past trip? My favorite thing was visiting Diagon Alley in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Orlando. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. For me, it just kind of represents my childhood. I can't tell you how many times I read those books growing up. And when you get to like literally step into the pages of a book, it's so cool, you guys. The detail, the attention to detail, whether it's the buildings or the shops or the sights and the sounds, even the smells, it's just really, really neat. I cannot recommend it enough. I think even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, you know nothing about Harry Potter, you've never read the books, you've never watched the movies, I think that you would absolutely love it. And you might actually turn into a Harry Potter fan if you go and see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So That was brand new to me. I had never gotten to experience that before. I visited Hogsmeade, which is over on the Islands of Adventure side, when it first opened, a while ago, but I had never been to Diagon Alley, and it's really, really neat, you guys. Definitely stay until like the sun goes down, because I don't know, I almost feel like it comes even more alive, if that makes sense, in the evening time too. You guys, that wraps up all of your questions. If I missed one or you thought of something while I was talking, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. I am happy to answer any questions you guys have about our trip in January, or any questions that you might have in general. Be sure to subscribe. I would love to have you as a member of our growing YouTube community here at Main Street Through Your Eyes. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you know when I post additional videos. I've got some really fun ones coming up. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.